Hello everybody. Welcome to the Gut Health Happy Hour Glyphosate edition. This is a topic that is not talked about enough and needs to be out into the public. Like every single person in this country needs to know about this. I think this is maybe the biggest downfall of our health in the last 30 years is glyphosate. If you don't know what glyphosate is, it's the main ingredient in Roundup. It's in a lot of other things too, and there's a lot of other terrible ingredients in Roundup, but for the sake of just general discussion, glyphosate is the main ingredient in Roundup. And Roundup is sprayed on just about everything we eat these days. So we need to talk about the dangers of it, how we can avoid it, and how we can actually detox it out of our bodies, because it's having such a huge effect on our health that we need to talk about how we can detox it. If we can't avoid it, we need to be detoxing it. So I'm going to get into not too much of the science of it, because we can go down some rabbit holes here, people, and we could be on this thing for 3 hours. But I do want you to understand the gravity of it, because of course we're all concerned about our own health, but we really need to be protecting our children, because the kids' food has the most glyphosate in it. All of the food that our kids eat. So this makes me absolutely livid. And of course, it's mostly in America, because this stuff is not happening as much in other countries. So we really need to protect our kids. And this is a thing that if you are a mom or a grandparent or an aunt or something, it's a good thing for us to just be aware of it so that we can prevent it if possible. So basically Roundup is sprayed on almost everything, but the main things that it is sprayed on these days is wheat, oats, barley, corn, and soy. They created, you've probably heard of GMOs, genetically modified plants. They created these plants to be Roundup ready, that's what they're called. They're genetically modified to resist Roundup. So Roundup is an herbicide. It's meant to kill weeds, but it was originally invented as a pipe cleaner because it chelates to minerals, to how your pipes get mineral buildup. It chelates to minerals to extract them out of the pipes. But if you think about if it chelates to minerals, what does it do in our body? And it absolutely does that. It chelates, it binds onto our minerals, which makes them unusable in our body, and it takes them out of our body. So not only are we mineral deficient these days because our soil is mineral deficient, but we are mineral deficient because this Roundup that is sprayed on almost all our food is also binding onto our minerals and taking them out of our body. Those genetically modified plants, wheat, corn, soy, they are created to be resistant to Roundup. So they can spray as much Roundup as they want on these plants and not be affecting their crops. So in 2015, leading international scientists at the International Agency for Research on Cancer found evidence linking glyphosate to cancer in humans. Even though Monsanto, who owns it, says it is not cancerous to humans, the studies show that it is. In a 2019 meta-analysis by independent scientists at University of Washington found glyphosate increased cancer risks by 41%, specifically non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, a cancer of the immune system. So this, they call it the farmer's cancer, because all the farmers that are out there spraying glyphosate tend to get this cancer. Monsanto has paid billions of dollars in legal payouts to people that claim that their cancer was caused by Roundup. So if that weren't concerning enough, in 2017, researchers found that rats exposed to Roundup developed non-alcoholic fatty liver disease over a 2-year period at extremely low doses that were allowable in our water. So they have an amount that's allowable in our drinking water in America. That's all these rats were exposed to over 2 years, and they developed non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. In 2018, peer-reviewed research revealed that glyphosate-based herbicides were able to alter important biological markers relating to sexual development, genotoxicity, and damage to the gut microbiome, which is what we're mostly going to talk about today, in as little as 13 weeks at levels allowed in drinking water in America to be considered safe. So besides wheat, oats, corn, soy, Roundup is regularly sprayed on almonds, apples, beans, lentils, chickpeas, peas, grapes, rice, sunflowers, and the list goes on and on. So they like to make us think it's only on GMO crops, and it's not. So in the past 25 years, the spraying of glyphosate-based weed killers has skyrocketed on these genetically engineered Roundup Ready crops. And it was first approved in 1996. So if you think about all the health problems we've been experiencing in the last 30-ish years and how the levels of glyphosate, you can look at two charts where the levels of disease have gone like this and the levels of glyphosate have gone like that as well. So in 1995, the year before the Roundup Ready crops, US farmers sprayed 40 million pounds of glyphosate, 40. By 2014, 5 years later, that number had increased to 280 million per year. Today, Monsanto's Roundup sprays more than 1 billion pounds of pesticide in the US, including more than 300 million pounds of specifically glyphosate, but 1 billion pounds of pesticides, 300 million pounds of specifically glyphosate, enough for 1 pound for every American citizen. 1 pound for every American citizen per year. So dozens of independent studies published in peer-reviewed journals have found that glyphosate can have multiple negative health effects, including harm to beneficial bacteria, birth defects, infertility, reproductive issues, shorter pregnancies, increased infant mortality, and certain cancers. So when we talk about our gut bacteria, right? We know, because you are in this group and you've been watching all my trainings, that the gut bacteria is the most important thing in our body. Our gut bacteria is in charge of everything. We have 100 trillion bacteria. We have way more bacteria than we have human cells. So we're actually more bacteria than we are human. And Roundup goes in, acts as an antibiotic in the body. Antibiotics not only kill the bad stuff, these are good antibiotics that we use in our health world, but they kill all the good bacteria. These are not aimed to be good at all. They're not aimed to kill the bad stuff. They're aimed to kill everything. So the more Roundup we go into our body, the less good bacteria we have. Our body gets into dysbiosis, which is an imbalance of bacteria, which, if you guys all know, I test every single one of my clients to see if they have dysbiosis, an imbalance of good bacteria to bad bacteria. An imbalance usually causes pathogens to take over. As you all know, our immune system lives in our gut. Our immune system has been the most important topic of conversation in the last 3 years, and 70% of our immune system lives in our gut. If you lose this gut bacteria, we lose our immune system, we lose our happy hormone production, our serotonin, we can't balance our sex hormones. It causes leaky gut. So our bacteria is our first line of defense against leaky gut. So once we get leaky gut, now toxins are allowed to sneak through your intestinal lining into your bloodstream. Now it can go through the rest of your body, causing headaches and fatigue and joint pain and autoimmunity and all of these other things, right? So it's not just that it's killing our bacteria. Like, this is the snowball of things, and all of these reproductive issues, cancer. So, right, you get the idea that it's a bad thing. A study in the American Medical Association tracked people from 1993 to 2016 and found that these people, their levels of glyphosate in their body surged by 1,200%. So that is what has been going on in our country in the last 25, 30 years. The most increase in this pesticide, this herbicide, and it's directly linked to all of these diseases. So like we said, it's a chelator, it binds onto your minerals. So we need to make sure that we are protecting ourselves with more minerals, and we're gonna talk about that, because our soil is so depleted. So the food that we're eating is already depleted because the farmers aren't taking good care of the soil. If you are a gardener, tell me, put the word garden in the chat and let me know Do you think that your soil is important if you're growing food? I grow food. I'm not going to go get some dirt on the side of the road and grow plants out of it, right? For us to eat. So if you think about all the soil that is growing our food that we're eating, and there's poor farming practices happening. They're not rotating crops. There's no ruminant animals that are fertilizing the soil. So the food we're eating is already depleted. Then the Roundup gets sprayed on top of it and chelates those minerals. So this is a big issue, guys. We have to supplement with some kind of minerals or something that you know is going to be mineral rich, right? It's an endocrine disruptor. So even at medium doses, it can disrupt hormones, including sex hormones. So I don't know about you, but I've been looking at all these little girls. Like, I have a 9-year-old goddaughter. Her friends look like they're 17 years old. And why is this happening? Because of endocrine disruptors. It's a mitochondrial toxin, potentially damaging to the energy source of our cells. So mitochondria are the energy source for us, and this directly damages the mitochondria. It's a teratogen, which leads to birth defects, and classified by the World Health Organization as a probable human carcinogen. So in America, our safe levels, so let's just talk about how they are telling us that it's safe. The safe levels is 1.7 milligrams per kilogram of body weight per day, 1.75. In Europe, it's 5 times less, the safe levels. Why would we allow so much more than Europe? Why do we allow chemicals in our beauty products, in our cleaning products, in our wine, in our food, in our water? We allow all of these things into our system that they don't allow in Europe. Honey Nut Cheerios, which is one of the biggest offenders. Raise your hand, give me a Cheerio in the comments. Have you ever had Honey Nut Cheerios? I think every single one of us on this planet has had Honey Nut Cheerios. How many kids right now are eating 3 bowls of Honey Nut Cheerios a day, right? It has 670 parts per billion. A 3/4 cup serving weighs 28 grams. Thus, one serving contains 18.8 micrograms of glyphosate. That's 18 times the limit of what's safe per day in a 3/4 cup serving. One study in Mississippi found 75% contamination in their rain samples. If you think about, remember back in science class, how the world works and everything, it's a big circle of life, right? Glyphosate is sprayed onto everything. It evaporates, goes up into the air, and rains back down. 75% contamination of rain in Mississippi. Even if you're buying organic food, so a lot of people, I'll talk to people about this and they say, oh, I'm fine, I buy organic food. How I wish that was the truth. Organic food, not only do we have it in the rain, it's in the air, but if you have a neighboring farm, even if you are certified organic, if you have a neighboring farm that sprays Roundup on their crops, do you not think it's gonna leak into your soil and come through the air? It's just sprayed like this. Have you ever seen it on TV or on the movies? These people are in hazmat suits spraying this, and it's just billowing through the air. Tell me in the comments, do you buy organic food or do you buy conventional food? Do you buy a little bit of both? What's your opinion on that? And does it shock you to know that even if you're buying organic foods still test positive for smaller amounts of glyphosate, but they still test positive for glyphosate, which is a scary thing. So this means that achieving zero exposure is impossible literally unless you live on your own farm in the middle of nowhere near no other farms and eat all of your own food and drink your own water, right? So this is a scary thing. There are some municipalities that have recently won judgments against companies that were spraying Roundup near schools. And so a lot of municipalities have outlawed that near schools, which is great. So what do we do to protect ourselves? We know that this is a terrible thing that is almost impossible to get away from. So it's really hard to buy 100% organic food, right? Like, it's not even available to all of us in our area. but trying to buy as organic as you can. Like Trader Joe's has a lot of their stuff isn't even really more expensive as organic foods, but really trying to avoid the big ones, the wheat, soy, corn, oats. Those are the big ones that we know are getting sprayed with the millions and millions of pounds, and they are genetically modified, and the genetically modified ones are getting sprayed multiple times. They spray it as a pesticide herbicide, but they spray it again at the very end of the crop where they're ready to harvest, because it dries out the crop, which means they can harvest it quicker. So they actually spray it multiple times on GMO foods. So we're really trying to avoid GMO foods. You can look for the non-GMO label on foods, but non-GMO, a lot of people think non-GMO equals organic, and it doesn't. It can be non-GMO, but still not organic. So we really want to look for both labels. So you want to look for that certified organic label as much as you possibly can on foods. And especially when we're buying foods for our kids. And believe me, I was so unknowledgeable when I was raising my son, and I fed my son all the crappy food that they market towards kids. And really, it's the worst food on the planet, not only just nutritionally, but it's got tons of chemicals, and none of it is organic. And it's a scary thing. Babies are being born with glyphosate in their bodies already coming from their mother. They test the umbilical cords of babies. So really watching those things and just being aware of it, not like you have to go overhaul your whole life, but just being aware of it. And when we go buy foods for our kids, just trying to understand that organic is going to be better. And then we all really need to understand that eating out at restaurants, there's no organic food at restaurants, and really restaurants, they go for the cheapest food they can get, right? And don't tell anybody, but my husband and I own 6 restaurants, so you can go eat at our restaurants, but not all the other ones. No, I'm just kidding. Limiting the amount you eat at restaurants, right? We eat at restaurants. Of course we do. We own restaurants. But trying to cook at home the cleanest possible you can. You can try the 80-20 rule of cooking at home and eating out would be great. And I know there's a lot of people, like we did this for years, where our son was on a traveling baseball team and we ate out all the time. Yes, of course, there are very certain circumstances and it's hard to avoid it. So let's talk about detoxing glyphosate. Because we can't avoid it, let's talk about detoxing it. So the system that we use in this house is from a company where the founder wrote a small book called The Toxin That Came to Dinner, and it's about glyphosate. And he is so passionate about trying to eradicate glyphosate in our food supply, and he invented a product where he did a preclinical trial. And in this trial, it was a small trial, he's really trying to expand it into many different types of individuals, people with autism, autoimmunity, things like that, but this was a small preclinical trial. But it did get the Detox Project stamp of approval. Biomedic, this product, shows 74% reduction of glyphosate out of the trial members in just 6 weeks. 74% in 6 weeks. So that is amazing. Also a 75% reduction in C-reactive protein levels, which C-reactive protein is an inflammation marker. So if any of you out there are trying to reduce inflammation in your body, this would be a wonderful thing to take. If you have autoimmunity, or almost everything is linked to inflammation, right? 74% reduction of glyphosate in just 6 weeks. So this is something that we take every single day. We take it on vacation with us. We will never live without it because there's no way to avoid glyphosate. So this product is called Biomedic. I know it's going to be backwards. And it is just a capsule. I take one in the morning, one at night. And because we cannot avoid glyphosate, this is what I take every day. Now, this company also grows its own food. And you've probably heard me talk about the shake that I have every day of my life that is just, to me, is the greatest thing in the whole entire world. It's called the Power Shake, certified organic and glyphosate free. They grow their own food away from other farms and water everything with purified water, grow it in mineral rich soil. It's the most nutritious food you could get on the planet. They dehydrate it without heat, without chemicals. So you're getting raw living enzymatic food, but this is just packed full of mineral-rich greens. So speaking of getting those minerals that we talked about that we need to get, so we need to get mineral-rich food, but we also need to be getting food that doesn't have glyphosate. So this is a good combination of those two things. I have this shake every single day, sometimes twice a day. I have so much energy. I sleep through the night. My gut is like as strong as can be. It's amazing. And this, when people sign up for my program, the Happy Belly Method, this is all included. All of these products and the gut microbiome test, so that we can see exactly what's going on in your gut bacteria, and if it's depleted or if there's bad guys that are taking over, we do all of that. Now for the kids, because kids don't like to take pills and they also don't like to take multiple products, this is truly amazing. It's called Epigenius Family. It used to be called Epigenius Kids, but they changed it to Family because so many adults like it. It's a chocolate shake, but it combines protein, fruit, veggies, prebiotics, probiotics, and it has a full serving of the Biometic in it. So this is a great shake. Give it to the kids before they go off to school. Blend it with a banana and some coconut milk or something like that. Make them a nice chocolate milkshake in the morning or when they get home from school. But it's got a full serving of that Biometic so that the kids can start detoxing the glyphosate out of their body as well. And then the last thing is ionic elements. And there's all kinds of different ways you can get minerals into your body, but this is a really natural way. I'm not a big fan of synthetic vitamins that are created in a lab. Our body just doesn't use them the right way. So all of these products from this entire company are made from organic food. And same thing with the elements. So this is a fulvic acid, ocean and plant-derived trace minerals. And so I think it's 74 different trace minerals, but they're all in the proper balance. So when you get something from nature, it's already properly balanced. If you take individual minerals separately, your body can really get out of balance. Some things can pull from other things, and we want to have a natural balance of minerals for our body to work properly. So I just put this in my shake in the morning, and then I have a little tart cherry drink that I have at night if you have trouble sleeping. Tart cherry juice is amazing, and we have that as well. But so I do that morning and night to make sure that I get my minerals. So I've bundled this all together and created a little link for you. If you are interested in just looking at these products, you can just comment detox in the comments here. And I've just bundled these 4 products. There's tons and tons of other wonderful products that this company makes. I'm super passionate about this company because they're so passionate about glyphosate and doing the clinical trials and testing. It's one of the only companies I know that actually tests for glyphosate and got the Detox Project stamp of approval for being glyphosate free. So if you want to take a look at that little bundle with the link to order, I also embedded a code in there that'll give you $50 off your first order. But it really is, this is just the basics of human health is vitamins and minerals. And we're totally losing our vitamins and minerals. So just eating a healthy diet, to me, it is not enough anymore because our diet is impossible to be healthy unless you meet your farmer, know who their neighboring farms are, and that if they don't use Roundup or other dangerous pesticides, or you have your own farm and you don't live where it rains glyphosate, right? There's so many factors that go into it. So it's almost impossible to just eat a healthy diet and think that we're being healthy enough. I would venture to say that we've got to supplement these days with really clean, good organic supplements for us to know that we're getting all of our nutrients into our body. If something is genetically modified, it's not real food anymore. Most of the foods we eat today are not even real food. So they go into your body. Your body does not know what to do with them, sees it as a toxin or an invader, has to attack it, which causes inflammation, destroys our gut bacteria. Our gut bacteria feeds on fiber, real food. If we're not putting things in our body that are real food, it's going to kill our gut bacteria. Our gut bacteria is our first line of defense against leaky gut. If we get leaky gut, now these toxins that we need to come into our body and be excreted are not being excreted. They're getting into our bloodstream. Now our body is attacking these toxins that are now in our bloodstream. So let's say you've been eating some food for your whole life and it was fine, and then you got leaky gut really bad. Now your body sees this food as an invader because it has snuck through your intestines. So now you have a food intolerance to it. It's not the food's fault. As I always say, it's not the food's fault. If it's real food, it's not the food's fault. It's your body doing the smart thing and reacting to it, going, oh, this thing is a toxin, so now I'm going to send up a red flag and tell my human that this is not a good food because it's a toxin to us. So then people develop multiple sensitivities because your body is now on high alert all the time from all these toxic foods coming into the body. So what we need to start doing is eating real food, not food-like substances. And so in Europe, as you can see, their glyphosate allowance is, what did I say, 1/6 of ours. They don't have all the GMO crops, and scarily enough, I think they are going in that direction. So if you want to go to Europe, go now. But they don't have all the leaky gut that we have, so they can eat all these foods and not have all the reactions that we have and not all the disease that we have. It really all comes back to our gut bacteria. That's exactly why I test every single one of my clients' gut bacteria, because if we don't know what's going on in your gut microbiome, your 100 trillion bacteria, you may never find the root cause of what your issues are. So getting that gut test is just super, super important. Then we can know exactly the next best steps to take for you. But so that's why I do that with every single one of my clients, and I hook my clients up with these products to make sure they're getting mineral-rich, glyphosate-free, superfood nutrients into their body, because that's how your body can start to heal. If we're nutrient deficient, which 9 out of 10 Americans are, your body can't heal itself. It's just as simple as that. So just starting at the base, go back to basics. Instead of getting this test and going to this doctor and this specialist and everybody else, just getting your baseline of nutrients is how your body can start to heal itself. Because that's what we don't want to rely on medications and surgeries and all these millions of other things that we could do if we can just get our body to heal itself. And at the very baseline level, that means we need our nutrients, we need to detoxify, we need to repair our gut microbiome, and we need to work on our gut-brain connection. Those are our 4 pillars of health. And so combining all of those things is how you can thrive for the rest of your life. So if anybody wants to hop on a call, please, I have the call link right there in the comments. If you want to talk about getting your shit together, getting rid of these gut issues, and really gaining your energy for life back, because that's what it's all about, being able to go out and enjoy life and do whatever you want to do, then let's hop on the phone and talk about working together. I have a program called the Happy Belly Method where we work together for 16 weeks. And I do guarantee that by the end of the 16 weeks, you will at least be on your way to complete gut freedom. So let's hop on a call and talk about that. Let's get you feeling better ASAP. If you want the link to these products, comment detox. I have all kinds of resources, you guys. So please just reach out to myself or to my assistant, Caroline, if you ever need a resource from any of these gut health happy hours or anything else I've offered. Hopefully that all resonates with you and we can all just go forward with more awareness for our own health and for our kids' health. So I love you all. Hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you here next week. Is my big gut health masterclass, Transform Your Gut, Reclaim Your Life. So this is going to be a big masterclass. We are going to go over exact strategies for getting rid of your gut issues for good. That is the goal. So I will see you all then. In the meantime, reach out if you need anything.